Alright, let's recap this. Where we're at this point in time. The ACES distributor is in now. We ended up not changing the gear on the bottom of that because it has the melanized gear, and I guess it's supposed to be good for the cam that's already in it. So the throttle body's on here with all the sensors hooked up, minus the IAT here that needs to go into the lid. I put a fuel pressure sensor on here. We're going to run fuel pressure in, then it's going to go to the back, crossover, and then I put the manual gauge right there to be able to look at it. Then it's going to come out here, down, across, and to this regulator right there. And then inside this is actually the factory fuel rail, or the fuel line that comes from the tank. I'm using it as a return because the line stops like right here, so it works out perfectly. Just fits right in there. I just bent it up because it was going all the way up here and then turning for the pump up here, but it looks nice this way. All I did was, this is PTFE line, I just shoved this over top of it, and then I'm going to clamp it down back there at the bottom just to make sure, even though it's not going to have pressure in it because it's just a return, still don't want it to leak. So I got to clamp it over there. Distributor's hooked up. The coil wire right here is ran. I'm going to put some black sheathing in it, or over it, so it kind of disappears a bit. Let's see what else is there. All the wiring. So as you can see, if you look around through the back there, you don't really see much of the wiring because I don't want it to be seen. So I've kind of buried it. It goes way down back there. It crosses over back here, goes underneath. And then these are the main relays right here. So you have the main on relay up top. The fuel pump relays down here along with their fuses. And then they're coming right up here, straight to the alternators, straight to the power source. So I'm catching my positive for the system off the alternator and the grounds directly off the alternator, because that's the best chance of getting full power. My dad already had this alternator reworked a year or so ago to be 140 amp rather than, I think, the 85. So to get full power, especially being a fiberglass car, all that power comes through one little ass wire that goes up into here, and then the alternator feeds this to charge the battery. So I might as well just grab power straight from the alternator. It's the best bet. Now up here, I think I'm still going to drill a dimple here for where this the factory locating piece goes. Essentially this piece right here, to keep this from being able to rotate at all, or keep this one right here from being able to rotate. So, and I kind of like this as a lot like the throttle, like a carburetor, you know. We got some throttle and then all the power. Okay, so we're at the back here. We ended up just replacing this whole tank. There's a sending unit up here somewhere is where the sending unit and the float goes, because normally on this car the float, or the sending unit exit, and the sender is right here. Just comes out of the bottom. Now we could have possibly ran the pump up here and the filter up here, but I didn't like how high it was above the bottom of the tank, so I chose not to do that, and we ended up just ordering a new tank. I have to tell you, this is the most pain in the ass fucking gas tank I have ever dealt with. It took me and my dad 3 hours to get this tank up here, and that was with both of our hands on this. And what sucks about it the most, really sucks about it the most, is if we get this light up here. See, I don't know if you can quite see that. You see that bridge right there under this gas tank strap? That bridge is up there because of that. What the fuck kind of shit is that? This is the most half-assed design They absolutely could have put that stuff anywhere else, but you have that fuel line right there, and then just underneath where that fuel line is where the level sender is. So they had to create this damn bridge for the gas tank strap in order to allow that to work. Why could you not have moved that over or put it on the other side of the tank? They could have done so many different things. This is already a custom tank because it's not like factory. So why the hell would they have wasted their time doing what they did there when they could have just made it better to begin with? It just blows my mind. And then all I've got left down here is this is the stuff from the tank. So we got the level sender here. I doubled up on positive wire just to make sure that it has enough. And then the ground for the sender and the ground for the pump. I just have to finish that all up. This is the factory ground for the sender, and this is the sender lead right here. I just have to make that better. That is where the factory fuel line goes up to the front, so this is where the return is. So that's the 10 AN, and I have it converting down and going in up there. Alright, so here we are a day later. I now have everything all hooked up. So the line I had going into this regulator right here was in the wrong spot. It actually needed to go there. And then this is now a 6 AN instead of an 8 AN. And that great big drawn out piece that went all the way down to there didn't work. The PTFE stretched over the end of the ball of that and then just leaked everywhere, and I couldn't get it to stop. So I went to the local speed shop and actually got a compression fitting for 6 AN, for 3/8 to 6 AN, and that's what this is. So it's still the return line, but it's going all the way to the back, not leaking now. I pressurized the whole system. We're not leaking now. Or we're not leaking. So there's where I have the gauge, right? Everything's up here. Oh, I plugged in the AIT sensor because I'm getting pretty close to starting it. So we need to know, or a computer's going to need to know that. But if I plug this in, I have this fuel pump bypassed right now, so I can do pressure checks and stuff. But if you watch the gauge, we have about 45 psi, and that's what the system is set to work with, is a 45 psi deadhead. And I don't have any leaks here or there or even that drop over. All of that is good. And the pressure regulator over there. Well, as I shot that last clip, the 1/8 right there was leaking. Oh look, it's leaking again. Well, as I was shooting that last little clip, that 1/8 inch NPT right there for where the gauge is supposed to go was just leaking. But it wasn't leaking while it was on pressure, it was leaking while it was off pressure. Like the residual pressure ate through the pipe dope. I tried putting more pipe dope on it, redoing it, that didn't work. So now there's actually thread tape on it. I don't know if that's going to hold or not, but for right now, it's not leaking. Okay, here we are. This is the last box to open up. This is the touchscreen controller to program this thing. And this screen is fucking enormous. I had no idea it was 8 inches was going to look that big, because it seems like this is like a 12-inch tablet. It's really what it seems like. So I just got to plug it into the back here. And then I have an extension cable that I bought right here, so that way I can hide the wires for the most part into the car. So it's always plugged in, so it's always data logging, but it's never out in the open to be obvious. At least it would never have to be. So let me get this hooked up. Alright, let's turn this key on and see what this is all about. Oh wait, I never hooked up the fuel pump. Okay, so the fuel pump relay is plugged back in. The engine on relay. Alright, let's turn this key on. Should hear the pump prime. There it is, pump primed. Look at that, here we go. Let's see, we got the wild card. Well, that's not great. Why is there a red? That was green the other day. Alright. Let's try to reboot it. Off. It's off. On. Huh. What does that mean?